Night falls over Sihanoukville, its skyline glowing gold against the dark sea. Thousands of miles away, in Culiacan, the capital of the Sinaloa cartel, gunfire cracks through the humid air. Two worlds, one drenched in neon and the other in blood, are about to collide through a single invisible current: money. For years, Chen Zhi, the billionaire head of Prince Holding Group, was accused of building one of Asia's most complex scam empires. But in 2022, something changed. His digital fortune began flowing west, into Mexico, into the veins of cartels who needed to clean billions from cocaine and fentanyl. What began as a financial trickle became a torrent of crypto transactions, offshore loans, and construction investments, a silent alliance no one saw coming. Intelligence analysts now call it the Blood Money Network, a secret pact linking Southeast Asia's cyber syndicates with Latin America's narco empires. The deal was simple. Chen's companies made dirty money disappear. The cartels paid him in blood-soaked profit. As the DEA, DOJ, and Europol close in, evidence suggests that at least $1.6 billion of cartel cash was cleaned through Chen Zhi's projects. How did a billionaire from Cambodia end up holding the cartel's wallet? And what happens when organized crime becomes borderless? Tonight, we uncover the truth behind the alliance that turned cocaine into gold and business into blood. When agents from the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, began tracking cartel finances in late 2022, they didn't expect the trail to lead to Cambodia. Yet every encrypted transfer, every crypto wallet, and every offshore account circled back to a name no one in Mexico had ever heard before: Chen Zhi. His company, Prince Holding Group, was publicly known for building luxury condos and sponsoring charities, but deep inside its digital backbone ran something else: the infrastructure of a laundering empire. In documents later leaked from Operation Python, investigators discovered that over $1.6 billion in cartel proceeds from Sinaloa and CJNG had been funneled through investment accounts registered in Phnom Penh. The transfers were masked as real estate escrow and infrastructure partnerships, with intermediary wallets bouncing funds through Hong Kong, Singapore, and Dubai before reappearing in Cambodia. The recipient accounts belonged to subsidiaries of Prince Holdings, particularly one front company called Golden Phoenix Development, now confirmed as part of Chen's empire. The mechanics were brutally efficient. Instead of moving piles of cash, the cartels converted drug profits into cryptocurrency, often Tether, USDT, or Bitcoin, then injected them into construction projects controlled by Chen's network. Once the funds re-emerged as foreign investments, they were reintegrated into legitimate banking systems and even used to purchase government bonds. According to FinCEN, this new model of crypto-based money laundering reduced detection rates by nearly 70% compared to traditional methods. But there was more. Inside encrypted chat logs seized from cartel brokers, agents found repeated references to a mysterious CZ bridge. This wasn't a person, it was a code name for the payment infrastructure connecting Latin America's narco groups with Asia's digital scammers. Analysts believe the initials stood for Chen Zhi. The network acted like a revolving door. Drug money entered from Mexico, cycled through fake investments in Cambodia, and returned to Latin America as clean capital ready for new shipments. Former cartel accountant Raphael T., now under witness protection, described the system in one chilling line: "They gave us a way to make cocaine invisible." While the DEA pursued traffickers in Los Angeles and Houston, their cybercrime division began mapping blockchain ledgers that pulsed with synchronized activity from both hemispheres. Thousands of transactions, time-stamped within seconds of each other, tied wallets used by CJNG couriers to investment funds managed by Prince Group Asia. The data suggested coordination at a scale far beyond coincidence. By early 2023, the theory solidified. The cartels weren't just customers, they were partners. Chen Zhi had given them the one thing they lacked: access to a legitimate financial ecosystem. In return, they gave him liquidity, millions flowing daily through his projects, masking the true source of his fortune. The alliance was perfect. The cartels turned blood into balance sheets. Chen turned fraud into infrastructure, and together they built a digital empire where the world's deadliest criminals spoke the same language: money. By mid-2023, shipments began moving in the opposite direction. What started as a trail of crypto transfers from Mexico to Cambodia soon turned into something far more tangible: cocaine. On April 11, 2023, customs officers at the port of Sihanoukville intercepted a container labeled steel imports from Guadalajara, Mexico. Hidden beneath tons of scrap metal, they found 1.2 tons of high-grade cocaine, stamped with the distinctive rooster logo of the Sinaloa cartel. The cargo was traced to Prince Logistics Asia, a subsidiary registered under the sprawling Prince Holding Group network. At first, Cambodian officials called it a random smuggling incident, but investigators from Interpol and the DEA's Bangkok office quickly realized it was anything but random. Shipping manifests, insurance papers, and electronic invoices all led to one shared digital address: phoenix@princeasia.com, the same alias used by Golden Phoenix Development, the front company tied to Chen Zhi's laundering web. The breakthrough came when Luis Ortega, a Mexican national and former financial broker for CJNG, was arrested in Bangkok in March 2025. His encrypted laptop contained dozens of messages referencing CZ projects, Cambodia zone, complete with spreadsheets listing crypto transactions and shipment IDs matching the seized containers. According to Thai police, Ortega's job was to coordinate cocaine logistics with Asian investors who handled money conversion on the other side. His contact list included 2 Cambodian phone numbers traced to executives at Prince Group. In debriefings under Europol supervision, Ortega admitted that the cartels no longer relied solely on shell companies in Panama or Belize. Instead, they preferred Asian developers who could legitimize drug revenue by investing it in luxury property projects. The reason was simple: condos and casinos didn't raise red flags the way offshore accounts did. In his own words, Prince had the connections. They made dirty money look like foreign confidence. Meanwhile, satellite data from HSI and US Customs revealed a striking pattern. Over 12 months, 5 separate shipments originating from Guadalajara, Manzanillo, and Mazatlan all docked in Sihanoukville. Each carried similar weights of narcotics, and each was insured through a holding firm in Dubai tied to Chen Zhi's investment partner, Falcon Fund ME. That same fund had recently invested $280 million into Prince Group's coastal smart city project. By the time FBI Cyber Division entered the case, the picture was undeniable. The flow of drugs westward matched the flow of capital eastward. For every ton of cocaine arriving in Cambodia, millions in construction payments returned to Mexico via crypto channels, effectively completing the laundering loop. In one 72-hour period, blockchain analysis showed $94 million leaving wallets linked to CJNG and reappearing in Prince-controlled accounts in Singapore and Macau. American intelligence officers began calling it the cocaine crypto pipeline, a trans-Pacific artery where cocaine financed condos and condos concealed cocaine. Analysts at FinCEN noted that the pattern mimicked earlier triad cartel alliances from the 1990s, but operated at a digital scale previously unimaginable. And at the center of it all was a man whose name appeared on every corporate registration: Chen Zhi. What made the discovery more alarming was how openly Chen courted respectability. While the DEA traced cocaine containers bearing his company's logo, Cambodian state television aired footage of him inaugurating a new hospital wing in Phnom Penh, standing beside ministers and smiling for cameras. Behind the scenes, his empire was being used to traffic narcotics halfway across the world. A senior agent summarized it grimly. He didn't just clean their money, he moved their product. By late 2024, investigators concluded that Chen's network had evolved beyond financial laundering. It had become a logistical partner, a corporate facade capable of storing, shipping, and investing cartel profits under the cover of international development. Prince Group wasn't merely a business, it was a bridge between Southeast Asia's triads and Latin America's cartels, where the currency was trust and the cost was blood. And as cocaine shipments kept arriving on Cambodia's shores, one question haunted every agent watching the case unfold. Was the country's new prosperity built on a foundation of powder? By early 2024, investigators realized the true power behind Chen Zhi's operation wasn't in concrete or construction, it was in the numbers. Hidden beneath the public facade of Prince Holding Group lay an intricate network of private lenders, crypto exchanges, and digital wallets stretching from Macau to Mexico City. Agents from the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, called it the shadow banking web, a parallel financial system designed to keep dirty money alive while appearing clean. According to leaked internal memos obtained by Reuters, more than 17,000 suspicious transactions were recorded between Cambodia, Singapore, and Mexico from 2022 to 2025, worth over $4.2 billion. Many of them passed through small, obscure microbanks located inside luxury offices in Phnom Penh and Sihanoukville, owned by subsidiaries of Prince Group. These institutions offered private digital banking services for foreign investors, but in reality, they specialized in layering, the systematic breaking down of large transfers into smaller ones to avoid regulatory detection. The scheme was elegant and invisible. Cartel cash, converted into Bitcoin or Tether, was deposited through brokers in Guadalajara. From there, automated trading bots dispersed the funds into crypto wallets managed by Prince Global Exchange, a financial arm overseen by Chen's inner circle. Once received in Cambodia, the funds were transferred into real estate development pools, then redistributed to offshore companies in Panama, Dubai, and Hong Kong. By the time investigators traced the chain, the original source was gone, transformed into legitimate capital ready to purchase hotels, land, or even political influence. An internal report from Europol's Financial Intelligence Unit described the structure as a ghost bank hidden inside an empire of glass. It was decentralized, digital, and nearly untouchable. Even traditional anti-money laundering software struggled to flag it because the trades were disguised as blockchain infrastructure projects. To the system, they looked like tech innovation. In truth, they were blood pipelines. One former accountant from Prince Group, speaking under anonymity, claimed that the company maintained a private digital ledger separate from official books, an encrypted blockchain accessible only by a handful of executives. It wasn't for transparency, he said, it was for control. Every time money entered the system from Latin America, the internal ledger recorded it as foreign development capital, while a mirror account quietly redirected equivalent funds into shell corporations linked to 14K triad operatives in Macau. The 14K, led from the shadows by one Kuok-koi, the dragon head, acted as the guarantor for Chen's operation. Their global network of fixers and brokers ensured that the funds could move through any jurisdiction without interference. For the cartels, this was revolutionary. They no longer needed smurfs or physical couriers. Chen Zhi gave them an entire digital bank. Meanwhile, FinCEN flagged a spike in cross-border remittances between Cambodia and Mexico, labeled as microloans. In one 3-month span, more than $600 million flowed through this category, often in increments of exactly $9,800, just under the US reporting threshold of $10,000. The precision wasn't coincidence, it was design. As the US Treasury Department expanded its investigation, it uncovered connections between Prince Global Exchange and 2 previously sanctioned fintech firms based in Macau and Kuala Lumpur. These firms provided the digital tools, the wallets, the anonymizing protocols, the smart contracts that made Chen's empire possible. Every code line was written to protect one truth: where the money came from. A former DEA cyber analyst later summarized it best. They built a machine that could turn cartel blood into blockchain dust. But behind the technology was the same ancient formula: greed, protection, and power. For Chen Zhi, the digital empire wasn't just about profit, it was about leverage. The billions flowing through his system gave him influence not just in Phnom Penh, but in the corridors of power from Beijing to Mexico City. In a world where financial systems can be rewritten with code, he didn't need guns or armies. His currency was compliance. And for the cartels, Chen Zhi had become something no banker, no politician, no smuggler had ever been before: the perfect ally. By the time 2024 arrived, Chen Zhi was playing 2 games at once, one in the open, one in the dark. Publicly, he was Cambodia's golden investor, shaking hands with ministers and cutting ribbons at luxury projects. Privately, he was moving billions through a web of shadow accounts, quietly linking Prince Group to Mexico's most violent cartels. In his world, legitimacy wasn't the opposite of corruption, it was its disguise. While the US Treasury and OFAC were flagging crypto wallets tied to cartel operations, Chen doubled down on his public image. He donated to hospitals, sponsored disaster relief, and launched a Sustainable Asia initiative from his headquarters in Phnom Penh. The same week his company was praised on national television, DOJ analysts discovered a transfer of $48 million routed through Dubai's Falcon Fund ME, a financial firm later identified as a proxy for Sinaloa cartel's investment wing. Internal documents seized during Operation Hydra revealed how this Falcon Fund acted as a financial bridge. Officially, it was a Middle Eastern sovereign investment company. In practice, it was a digital laundromat used by cartel accountants to inject narcotics revenue into Asian development projects. The fund's largest partner, Prince Holding Group. In May 2024, Chen Zhi's private jet landed quietly in Doha, Qatar, according to flight logs obtained by Europol. The passenger manifest listed Chen Zhi plus 3 delegates, traveling under a business investment visa. What followed was a closed-door meeting with representatives of Falcon Fund and 2 unidentified energy investors. Intelligence later confirmed that one of those men was Rafael El Jefe Martinez, a known financial coordinator for the Sinaloa cartel. The topic on the agenda: regional infrastructure co-financing. But the translation in cartel code was clear: how to push narcotics profits into Asia's real estate sector without raising flags. That same month, Interpol's Cyber Financial Unit detected synchronized transactions between Phnom Penh, Dubai, and Guadalajara, totaling $312 million in less than 10 hours. Analysts traced the funds through smart contracts that dissolved after completion, erasing their trails in seconds. One investigator later said, "It was like watching money evaporate into legality." Yet back home, Chen Zhi was untouchable. Cambodia's government continued to defend him publicly, portraying him as a symbol of the nation's prosperity. State media ran daily segments of him handing out scholarships and relief packages. In one broadcast from December 2024, he stood beside a senior minister and announced a new foundation to fight online crime. The irony was breathtaking. But behind the speeches and charity galas, cracks began to show. Several Prince Group executives abruptly resigned. One was later found dead in Macau. Another vanished after leaving Singapore. Anonymous whistleblowers leaked encrypted files showing internal memos marked CZ Confidential. They detailed monthly compliance payments to high-ranking Cambodian officials, coded invoices covering government silence. At the same time, DEA field reports documented that CJNG couriers were expanding into Asia, moving small arms and narcotics via cargo ships registered under Prince Global Logistics. Intelligence shared with Europol suggested that Chen's empire had begun transporting not just money, but product, literal cocaine hidden inside construction materials bound for Cambodia's ports. The game had escalated. Chen wasn't just cleaning the money anymore, he was part of the supply chain. A former intelligence officer put it bluntly, he created the world's first corporate cartel, a multinational where philanthropy and blood money share the same bank account. As the year closed, global agencies prepared for a coordinated strike. Operation files were stacked in Washington, London, and Brussels, all pointing to the same man. Chen Zhi had crossed the line from white-collar fraud to transnational crime. But there was one final move he still had left, and it would test just how far money could buy freedom. The walls finally began to close in during the fall of 2025. What had started as whispers inside DEA field offices and Europol task forces erupted into the largest transnational crackdown in recent history, Operation Hydra. Coordinated across 5 continents, it brought together agents from the DEA, OFAC, Interpol, Europol, and the US Department of Justice, DOJ. Their target list contained 146 names, but one stood out above all: Chen Zhi, the billionaire who had quietly become the banker of two worlds. At 4:00 a.m. on September 9th, 2025, synchronized raids swept through Phnom Penh, Dubai, Singapore, and Mexico City. Dozens of properties linked to Prince Holding Group were searched. 42 front companies across Panama, Hong Kong, and Cambodia were frozen. The numbers were staggering. Authorities seized over $3.8 billion in assets, including $720 million in cryptocurrency and multiple luxury jets registered under shell entities tied to Chen's name. In Mexico, cartel accountant Rafael El Jefe Martinez was captured. On his encrypted phone, agents found chat logs titled CZ Bridge, active. The final message read, Phase 6 complete, Cambodia clear. But inside Cambodia, the reaction was surreal. Instead of condemnation, government officials held a press briefing defending the billionaire. Touch Sokak, spokesperson for the Ministry of Interior, stated, all investors, including Prince Holding Group, are protected under Cambodian law. It was the same script they had used before, but this time, the world wasn't buying it. Western diplomats described the statement as a declaration of impunity. Behind closed doors, DOJ prosecutors and Europol analysts pieced together the final map, a financial network linking Sinaloa, CJNG, and 14K Triad through a shared system of offshore accounts, digital wallets, and construction investments. The chain connected Guadalajara, Dubai, and Sihanoukville like points on a single golden triangle of modern corruption. The evidence confirmed what many had suspected. Chen Zhi's empire wasn't just laundering money, it was engineering a new global model for organized crime. The collapse came fast. Banks in Singapore and Hong Kong began liquidating Chen's assets. Interpol issued a red notice, while FinCEN blacklisted over 200 wallets associated with his name. But Chen himself was gone. Security footage showed his private jet departing Phnom Penh International Airport less than 12 hours before the raids began. Its destination, Dubai, a city that, ironically, had helped build his financial empire. As agents seized his offices, investigators uncovered a final piece of evidence, an internal Prince Group memo dated August 22, 2025, labeled Phase 7. It outlined plans to shift all active assets to a new holding company in Qatar, disguised as a renewable energy fund. At the bottom of the document, a single sentence was handwritten in Chinese: "The empire survives when it becomes invisible." By October 2025, Chen Zhi had become one of the world's most wanted men, charged with wire fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to finance narcotics trafficking. Yet, despite global pursuit, no government could confirm his location. Some reports placed him in Dubai's Marina district. Others suggested he'd moved to Macau under a new identity, protected by remnants of the 14K triad. Meanwhile, cartel money continued to flow. Even with the seizures, intelligence reports from FinCEN indicated ongoing transactions, proof that Chen's architecture had outlived its creator. The blood money network had become self-sustaining, run by anonymous AI-driven financial bots that executed trades faster than investigators could react. In the aftermath, one Europol agent summarized it grimly: "We didn't shut down the system, we only cut off its face." And the empire of Chen Zhi had fallen, but the idea of a borderless alliance between cartels and corporations had already taken root. Blood and money had merged, creating a new kind of power, one that couldn't be arrested, sanctioned, or bombed. And somewhere, under the golden lights of another skyline, the next bridge was already being built. The world watched as headlines flashed: $3.8 billion seized, 146 people charged, and a billionaire vanishing into the wind. But beneath the noise, the truth was quieter, more terrifying. The blood money network hadn't died, it had evolved. In an age where every currency can turn digital, every criminal can turn invisible. Along the streets of Phnom Penh, construction cranes still rise, funded by capital no one can trace. In Mexico, shipments still vanish into ports that no one controls. The ghosts of Chen Zhi and El Jefe linger not in prisons, but in balance sheets. Their alliance proved something far darker than anyone expected: that organized crime no longer needs borders, faces, or even names. The DEA, Europol, and Interpol may celebrate a victory, but the real war is no longer fought with guns. It's waged in the shadows of code, crypto, and corporations. When money becomes information, it flows faster than justice and deeper than fear. Standing on the edge of Sihanoukville's harbor, the reflection of gold towers ripples across black water, a reminder that some fortunes are written in blood. Because in this new era, crime doesn't hide underground anymore. It builds skyscrapers. And so, one final question remains. If a billionaire can turn blood into business, how many more empires are being built on the same foundation tonight?